Practice isn't the thing you do once you're good. It's the thing you do that makes you good. Malcolm Gladwell. My friends, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? I love this joke. The answer is practice. That's what we do every day, 10 to 15 minutes. That is all we ask of you. We see stocks are mixed today. Bonds, gold, and Bitcoin are up. Bitcoin swinging up quite strongly. Let's jump first into the S&P 500, up 0.22%. And again, this run just keeps a-going, doesn't it? We see where things on the two-day chart are now ahead, above the weekly trend line that we see. We use the weekly trend line to set our trend because we're trading off the weekly chart, right? And we use the two-day, the intermediate chart, and the half-day chart to give us a feel intraday on the half-day and every couple of days as to sort of what the strength or weakness is in that intermediate term. We don't just look at the weekly chart, but it is the king daddy. Why do we use the weekly instead of something like the 5-minute, the 30-minute, the half-day to trade off of? Because the real money, my friends, is in the weekly chart. Check this out. I mean, if you would have jumped in, and you're not necessarily would you have jumped in this first week. You may not have done that. But even if you jumped in the worst part of that week, the high for the week was 402.49. If you jumped in at the worst time the following week at 409.70, so that's 402.49 or 409.70, how much is it so far this week? What is the high? It is 429.62. So worst, you would have jumped in at 409 up to $20. If you would have jumped in the worst part of that first week, again, after we saw a high spike in volume, and then things switch over, going from red to green that following week. And if you'd have gotten in at the worst time, you would have, of course, seen an incredible return from 402.49 all the way up to what it is now. And it may go higher. It may start spiking down, but still, you've got lots of room to capture profit. So again, why do we use the weekly chart? Because that's where the real money is on your practice trades. And we see this trade now. We can see as we look at this half-day chart, things spiked up on Monday morning, and they've not since recovered that. So we will keep an eye on things. We look at the two-day chart, and you can see that we are not up to the high on this chart that we were on the Friday-Monday two-day. So again, we'll watch just the first day of this. It'll finish drawing on Wednesday, and we'll see where it goes. But at this point, again, we can see things sort of staving up. We've seen that happen before on these moves. So we'll pay attention and see just what occurs, and we will follow the price. That's the trick. Now, the NASDAQ 100 pulling back just a little bit. It's pretty much flat for the day, down 0.02, 0.2%. So not much, but again, we can see where it's had its ups and downs as things have moved along, but we see that over the last day and a half, things have been sliding sideways. So we will keep an eye again on the chart, see where they are. We still have a green up candle for the week. We're still well above the trend line on the two-day and well above it on the half-day. So that is where we are on our stocks. Let's move on to bonds. Bonds swinging up some for the day. We look at this two-day, first day of the latest two-day candle. It is just above with a doji, lots of indecision, but it is just above the weekly trend line. Same at the end of the day. We can see where bonds were down in the morning but popped up in the afternoon. We're still got a red doji. We've got lots of indecision here. Are bonds getting ready to turn around and move up? If we look at what bonds have done, is there any pattern in the last many months that we can find in this? Well, let's take a look. If we scrunch things in, bring them in, and go back about a year in time. Do we see any similar patterns? Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. Did we? We'll fix that later. Do we see any? Well, I can fix it right now. It goes right there. Do we see any patterns similar to this where bonds have gone down and then slid sideways with two dojis? You know, no, don't really see much like that. I see where I see a doji, I don't see any potential pattern there. Just showing some indecision. We can see a doji here. It popped up and then moved back over down. Doji here popped up. Doji here popped up. So again, we'll pay attention. Can't see any pattern that's going to give me any big clue as to where things might be going, but we will keep a close eye on bonds, keeping in mind what's up with the short-term chart and the intermediate chart, and of course, always the long-term chart. Let's go ahead and save where we are. Keep that locked in. And we're going to go to gold. Gold was up just a little bit. I may have mentioned bonds up 0.59%. Gold up 0.11%. Still have a red down candle on the weekly. Just trying to push through on the 2-day. Again, like bonds, we can see gold is sliding sideways with some dojis there. On the half-day chart, we have a day and a half of some green candles, but not pushing through. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday with gold and where that leads us. I can't wait to buy gold again. You know, hopefully we'll have a good practice trade in that. Let's see where we are on Bitcoin. We still have a red down candle for the week. Price on the 2-day chart is below the weekly trend line and below it on the half-day too. We can see in the morning some down move, but then bounding up in the afternoon, 6.37%. So again, didn't change our big candle, didn't change a lot on our intermediate candle, a spinning top there. Maybe a little less decision than the prior one, but we'll keep an eye on things and see where they are going. As I told you, I want to see Bitcoin pull back for a while and hopefully try to make sense out of these charts so that we can track it as we go into the future. Of course, I tell you guys all the time, when you look at this S&P chart, what you see there as opposed to this Bitcoin chart is a chart that rolls back and forth nicely, up, down. One anomaly here, but down after that, up, down. All the way through a year, we've had one of those. The rest, nice and clean. That's the kind of chart that we like. That's what you're looking for to practice trade. Those are the kind you want to put in your little nest so that you treat those little birdies well, feed them with your energy, learning how they work and what they do and how to trade them. And then, of course, practice to show yourself approved. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.